Hey everyone, Chris McLean here. I'm the head of strategy here at Insiteful and one of your friendly moderators inside the group here. And I was doing some research over the weekend for a new product line that we're very, very excited to launch very shortly here at Insightful, and particularly for Shopify and e-commerce group owners, store owners. And I found some startling statistics, and I wanted to talk about that today because it is one thing that we see a lot with our particular e-commerce clients. And here's the fact. The fact is that 43% of e-commerce store visitors actually bounce within the first 7 to 10 seconds of visiting e-commerce stores. And that's almost half of your visitors, right? You think about 100 people hit your website, 43 of those people immediately skip. And we see this all the time. And the statistics, they do blend somewhere between 20 on the really good side up to sort of 43% as an average, which means, somewhere between 20 and 60% of visitors are bouncing. It's a really, really shocking statistic. And one of the main reasons that we see this happening is because the average store owner doesn't actually know how to inspire buyers with their words, right? And what we mean by that, there's actually sort of two things going on under the hood of that problem. And as we've worked with hundreds of businesses and e-commerce store owners, we found that there's really two things that actually stop those buyers, those browsers, from converting into buyers. And the first thing is actually just not knowing who their perfect customer is. They haven't really identified who that singular perfect customer for their business is. And number two, the second part of this is that they're therefore not speaking to that person in a way that actually inspires them to buy as many products as possible right now whilst they're visiting that shop. So it's this sort of two-part conundrum where first up, you haven't identified the ideal person. So therefore your traffic, the traffic that's coming to your website, is somebody that's maybe interested, but they're not super needing to buy that thing right now, right? They're not super motivated. And that can be, we can fix that through things like getting your traffic audiences better defined and sending better traffic to the website. But the problem then occurs, you send this really, really perfect traffic, but then the website doesn't speak to that person, either in the language that they're expecting. It's not speaking to the problem that they're actually there to solve. That's a major part of this, right? They hit the website and it's not immediately clear that this website is solving, the products on this website are solving the immediate pain, the problem that that person is facing. So it's really this sort of two-part conundrum, having the right audience identified and then knowing how to speak to that person. And a big problem with having a high bounce rate for search engines like Google, when they're scoring your website, scoring that homepage on performance and user satisfaction, one of the biggest things they look at, the leading indicator, is actually the bounce rate. So is that page actually optimized for the person that's visiting it? Is it right for them, right? And it's kind of, again, two parts to this, right? So one thing is that the site can just be confusing for that person, right? So your inconsistent messaging is a big problem that we see. So customer has an expectation from the ad campaign or from the traffic source, wherever they've come in from, that ad creative, the copy that set up an expectation, right? It sort of set a promise and said, when you click this button, we're promising you something. And then when they hit the website, if that promise isn't met, right, it becomes confusing. There's an inconsistent message from the ad into the landing page. And even on the page within the different content, within different sections of a website, there can be inconsistent messaging. You can be trying, this happens a lot when you're trying to speak to too many people at once and say too many things and convince too many people that this product's for them. So that oversaturation of target audiences in a website's another big problem, which goes right back to that first point I talked about, right? Of really understanding that singular user, that one perfect customer. And a lot of clients are like, oh no, but we target everyone. And we've got all these different, we've got primary and tertiary and sub. We've got all these different customers. Yes, most businesses do, but all businesses will have a primary target customer. And then what happens, you'll sort of get like a cascading flow on effect from an ideal person. But that ideal customer, there'll be sort of a cascade of additional sort of subsidiary, tertiary customer audiences that sort of flow on from that one perfect customer. So that getting that consistent messaging comes back to that point of having that singularly identified audience and speaking directly to them and selling your product, selling your making sure that your brand proposition is targeted directly to that person. And the sort of secondary factor is, apart from that confusion and having inconsistent messaging, is that the website, if that messaging is not right, if that targeting is not correct and you're not saying the right words, the website seems like it's not relevant, right? So if you put yourself in the shoes of your customer and ask yourself what value they actually want to get from your website. What do they expect from your website? What's that thing that they're there trying to solve? What's that problem that they're trying to solve on that site? Then every piece of content on your website should help them achieve that goal, particularly the website, the homepage, and particularly everything that's above the fold, that first part, that banner, that first thing that they see when they hit the website. That needs to be like a 1-2 punch of, yes, this is for me. Yes, I'm in the right place, right? So they know it's for them. They know that their problem's about to get solved. And then your products and the rest of the user journey sort of shows them how to buy the things that they need to do. And then you've got your upsells and et cetera, sort of within that, within the time they spend on your website. But those two big things, just to sort of wrap this up, these are two big problems that we see time and time again, particularly with our e-commerce clients and a lot of people in the group. We know that a lot of you guys talk about this a lot of the time. Why are my bounce rates high? Why aren't people buying? And a lot of it comes down to this messaging, this brand positioning, that number one, you're not targeting the right people. And then number two, you're not speaking to them in the right way to actually convince them to shop with you. And how do you solve this? So brand positioning is a big part of this, right? How are you differentiating yourself from the shop next door where they can go and buy the same thing or a similar thing cheaper or get better delivery, right? It's very, very competitive out there. So you need to make sure that you're positioning yourself as something that's distinct, something that they're not going to get the same value if they go somewhere else. So then that feeds back into your messaging that can help. So we are the only store that does X, right? And then you become the only store that offers that value proposition. So you would have heard terms like, your vision, your mission, all of that stuff ties into here, your USP, your unique selling proposition, your brand positioning, to how are you different? How do you talk about where you position yourself against other competitors, against the store next door that does a similar thing? Your USP, that unique selling proposition. So what makes you distinct? What's the value that only you can deliver that no other brand can? Look and feel what your site looks like, what the website looks like, what your logo, your brand, does it speak to your vision and your mission and the stuff that makes you different? So there's a whole lot of this stuff that goes into actually building a brand that's going to resonate with your customer so that you can then really identify that customer and then say the right things to them and sort of get that 1-2 punch. So without going too long in this video, I know this is something that a lot of you do have issues with because we see it with our clients all the time. And yeah, I found those 43% bounce rate. I thought that was a pretty startling statistic. So if you're interested in solving this problem, we do have some ways that we can help you out. And if not, let us know what your bounce rate is. Have you looked at your bounce rate? Have you looked at your messaging? Have you looked at your targeting? Sound off in the comments and let us know sort of how this plays out for you on your site. Maybe we can help you out. There's great people in the community here that can also review your website and give you their feedback as well. So thanks. That's it for me today. Just wanted to drop in and I thought that was very, very interesting. It's something we see all the time. So hopefully we can help you get it fixed here in the group, or feel free to reach out to myself or Paul or one of the other admins, moderators in the group, and we can help you fix these couple of things and get that bounce rate down, get you converting more browsers into buyers. That's it for me, guys. Catch you soon on another video. I'm out. Cheers.